Welcome to Spain, Poco a Poco. How you doing, Tanya?
I'm hanging in there. I do want to apologize if the editing isn't as smooth as it usually is. It is not Gaetano, it is me because I might have coughing. I still have my allergy coughing thing. Your
Gotcha.
your editing skills are super duper, but if it's
Yes.
clipped, it's because I was coughing and there was nothing you could do.
Yeah, if there's a weird break and you're like, why does the sound
Yeah.
sound so different? Because she went into a coughing fit and you
Yes.
either got to hear the coughing or
Or
a
not, yeah. And
disjointed
it may
edit.
not be a smooth thing, and that is 100% me. So I just want to take that off of you in case anything
Oh,
has to
well,
happen,
well,
because your
thank
editing
you.
skills are super duper, super uber duper.
Well, speaking of editing,
Uh
today's
huh.
Poco a Poco is about a major edit in
It
the
is.
Valencian
That,
skyline.
that is true. Nice
It's so
segue.
sad.
We're going to talk about the Jardins de Real, and they are beautiful gardens here in Valencia. If you haven't been and seen them, they are gorgeous, but they have a bit of a history.
They do, and they're also known as the Viveros Gardens. That's what a lot of
Hmm.
people in the city call them because it that also means nursery, and we'll get into that.
I love it because I know things because of the name on the Google Maps. I don't know. I don't spend enough time in the city, even though we're so
Right.
close, to have these insider tips and tricks that you have. So I love that.
And I will, if I may just say real quickly, it did take me a minute to put two and two together because people are saying, "Are you going to the
Yeah.
music festival in Viveros?" And I'm like, "Where's Viveros?" I'm
What?
looking. What city's that? Where is that
Where?
nearby? And they're
Right.
like, "It's like across the park." I'm like, "The river? Okay, fine, I got it now."
Right. And
So,
logistically too, it is a huge park, but it's connected to the Toria, the river park,
well,
right?
it's adjacent,
Ish.
right?
It's
It's not
adjacent.
connected, but on a map, it looks
On a
like they're
map it looks
connected.
like it is, but it is so close that you can be there doing that and then pop over and go into the other park. I mean, they're very, very close. So
They're
it's
across the
like
street.
they're
Yeah.
across the street. So it is kind of one of these things where you would think you're in the major park of a city in that one, but then there's another one right there.
Right.
So it can be confusing, but they are their own park that is separate from the Toria Park.
Right.
So just if but you can go to all of them and walk around and it's gorgeous.
But we're going to talk about
Just
this one.
just this
Just this
one.
one. So, do you want to start?
Yes, I will start. So basically, just at the very, very beginning, based on what you just said, the reason why this is called the Jardins de Real was because once upon a time, many, many years ago, there was a palace there, a beautiful, beautiful palace. And
Yes.
for reasons that we will get into, that is no longer the case. It is now a beautiful gardens. And so the gardens began as orchards around the Alumnia, which is an Islamic recreational palace. So it started as a palace way, 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 way back when, and it was a beautiful orchard garden around a beautiful palace. And that's what we started with, which is not what
Hmm.
we have anymore.
No. Yes, so it was Almunia,
Almunia?
Almunia, Almunia. I don't know. Meant it was a countryside estate, so there'd be orchards and water channels and the gardens and places for us. Like if you've been to Generalife up in Granada, that kind of situation, right? It's not a place to rule your kingdom
Mm-hmm.
from, but to get away from your working palace because
Mm-hmm.
life is so stressful. Yes.
And I'm just going to totally skip right now because this might be a 50-minute conversation that you said up in Granada and not down in Granada.
Oh, the
So
reason
I'm
why I
going
said
to
this.
peg that for another day because I know that's a whole thing.
Well, the reason why I said up in Granada is because it's on a hill overlooking the city, so you go up to it
Okay, like I
when you're in
said,
Granada.
I'm not going to get into that with you now. We're going to put that on ice for another day because that was funny. And I just wanted to bring it up. Okay, go ahead.
So it would have been a traditional Islamic garden with their geometric layouts and the way they had the water channels and
Hmm.
the fruits and the plants. It's they're very
Very
what's the word I'm
advanced.
looking
They were very advanced in what they were building back then, for sure, with the
very
water
advanced and
structures.
very what's the word I'm looking for? Is it stayed? Like there's a reason to them. There's a real layout. They're not just haphazard.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm
geometric,
phrasing.
I guess. I
I
mean,
already said
oh, you
geometric.
did. Shows how much I was listening.
Well, never
And
mind. Let's move on.
that's exactly. And then Almunia means to wish or desire in Arabic. So obviously, this was supposed to be a very beautiful, gorgeous place, which I'm sure it was, with the fruit trees, aromatic plants, and everything. And and then the combination of the garden with the beautiful architecture, of which this palace was gorgeous.
Right. And then, as we've spoken before, there was
Mm-hmm.
the Reconquista, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or Reconquista. And so when Jaime the First conquered Valencia, so when they overtook the palace, it became the royal palace for
Mm-hmm.
the visiting monarchs of Aragon, and then then later all of Spain. And it was, it was never a royal residence full time. It was the visiting palace.
Yeah, so from 1238 to 1810, it was a royal residence of sorts. As we
Right.
know, not all royal residences are lived in permanently, but this was one that people had access to here. And then Felipe II at, added a royal nursery to it. So in 1560, he turned the
And we mean
gardens.
plant nursery, not
Yes.
baby nursery. They weren't just making babies.
Well, that's true. So that was a royal plant nursery. So King Felipe II, as he had started this nursery, he was actually not just having it here. He was using that nursery to have beautiful gardens in his other residences around Spain. So orange and lemon trees. He had like 4,000 plus flowering plants that were sent from Valencia to his Aranjuez residence in Madrid. So the garden here really did become a proper nursery that was supplying plants all over Spain, and hence the
Right.
Jardín de Viveros was the name. So a very iconic place, and also a beautiful palace.
Right, right. And during, like you said, during the 1238 to the 1800s, they all used the palace, and it would be a place of the medieval councils and Renaissance celebrations when they were
Mm-hmm.
visiting and all of that, and it was a source of pride and identity for the Valencian people.
Absolutely, because
Well,
also back then, I mean, still Valencia is an important city, but it was very important back then too. So it would have been an iconic place and an important palace to have here.
now, here's something that I found interesting. I don't know how true this is, but I've read this in a couple places that even after the palaces were destroyed, and we're going to get right into that, the locals still called it Del Real, and
Hmm.
not meaning from royal, but meaning from the Arabic riyad, meaning garden.
And
So
you
I
think
don't know
that's
if that's true or
true
not.
or not true?
I don't know. I've read it, but I mean, Real also means royal here, so I'm
I
confused.
mean, it's still the royal garden. The palace might not be there, but that doesn't mean that
But
it's
they're
not the
saying
royal
Riyadh doesn't mean
garden.
royal, it means garden because it's coming from Riyadh in Arabic.
Yeah,
And just a little
who
something. If
knows?
someone knows and wants to fight us over it, I mean, we have no horse in the game.
Well, I was
Just
going
something
to
I
say, you
read.
haven't really taken a side, so there's not really a fight here, but let us know. It's possible. I will say one of the things that was surprising to me here, which should not have been, is how many Arabic words are in the Spanish language here, and in
Hmm.
the things that we do here. I mean, it's a lot, and so I
Yes.
wouldn't be surprised if that were the case.
And the side note, there's a little redundancy too. So like
Hmm.
things like you talk about the Alcazar and you talk about the Alhambra. It's really you're saying the Alhambra because it's all means the. So you're
Right.
saying the.
Yeah. Well,
And they do it in Spanish because it's El Alhambra,
hmm
which
Oh
really
yeah,
it's just Alhambra.
that's
Anyway,
true.
come on. Let's go back to
That's
let's go back to what
true.
we were
So, do
talking.
you want to get into the what happened to this beautiful palace?
I'm an architectural preservationist by heart. So
Okay.
this to me breaks my heart. In 1810, they destroyed the palace. There was the Peninsular War, and Napoleon, the French army, tried to advance in 1808, wasn't successful. So in 1810, the people of Valencia decided to destroy the palace, thinking so the French couldn't use it as a staging ground or an armory
Hmm.
or whatever, and destroyed it. And it's
Yeah.
really upsetting because it was what people would say would be a useless strategy, because in 1812 the French still did come and overtake the city and
Hmm.
conquer it without the palace there. But there is kind of a threefold reason that historians have said that the palace was destroyed. One, it was for this military, albeit poor, strategy to destroy it.
I mean, it was
But
a
then there was,
thought. I mean, it's a
it
thought
was
that makes sense, right? Because it was something. Just because it didn't work doesn't mean that it wouldn't necessarily have been something that worked. And they
right,
needed,
but it
and
was
they needed to free up, like logistically, they needed to free up themselves and not be protecting a palace. So that
right.
would
So
have
the
been a lot.
military junta was
Yeah.
looking, or not the defenses were looking. One, they were using it for resources,
Right.
right? So they
Yeah.
didn't have to. One, they didn't have to protect it. Two, they could sell off the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
they were destroying to raise money. So
Yeah.
there is that. And then on the third, there was the new rising liberal bourgeois that thought that the palace represented the old regimes and the royals, and
So it meant
get rid of the
it
old.
probably made it an easier decision, probably for that.
Right.
But yeah, I think now, obviously nowadays, looking back, it seems like a very sad decision to have made. But that is
It
what
was
was
a little
done.
cut your nose to spite your face, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what survived? We have obviously these beautiful gardens that survived, and also the irrigation channels. So
Some of them, for sure.
which would have been a lot. Now, having bought a house here with not as old as this, irrigation channels in it, but you don't know where they are. So I'm hoping there was a map that came with that, because it's not easy to sort this stuff out.
Well, we'll get into that.
There is one physical piece of the palace that does remain, and that is a fragment of the coffered ceiling, which has been saved and kept at a place in Menorca, I think, called the Arjeu del Renier, which is, I think, an archive.
Rainier?
Maybe.
Rainier?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but you're not going to walk around the garden and find bits of the palace. That's not what's going on there.
No.
As much.
Well, you will. There are remnants. There are some remnants of the palace, like of the structure and the foundations and stuff when you walk around. But yeah, you're not
like nothing. I mean, it's not.
You're not finding chandeliers and doorways and all that beautifulness.
There's not like a gatehouse. I mean, the gatehouses that are there and the things that it was sort of basically fully destroyed. So it's
yeah.
You're going for the garden, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, really.
Right. And in 1903, it was still a working nursery.
Mm-hmm.
It then became a public park. And so then it moved from, which is so much about Valencia that we do see and maybe that we have the liberal bourgeoisie for this to think of, getting rid of royal privilege and bringing in, for public use.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And this is a thing that when I talk to many older Valencians, they do say that there is a thing about Valencian culture in history where they choose progress over preservation. So there is a lot of stuff that gets destroyed, and there's a lot of beautiful buildings, but they did this. Well, the park is another one. Think about the Torria. We had talked about that before. They were going to destroy it and make it a highway. And that was
right.
the first time they're like, no, we're actually choosing preservation over progress.
Yeah, that's true.
So going back to progress over preservation, in the 80s, they were doing work on the sewage systems around there, and they found some remnants and foundations of the palace. And there was this controversy in the city that, no, we need to dig this up and preserve it or excavate and find out. And the people said, nope, we need to solve our traffic problem first. So they just decided to bury all the things that they found. So that's very sad. But then in 2009, years later, there was some ground, what do you call it, like the radars that go through the ground, and they found new structures without full excavation, and it piqued the city's interest again into what was there. And they unearthed the Torre de la Reina, the Queen Maria's Tower, which was later her kitchen, and other walls and foundations that they expected to lead to the Torre del Rey and the large palace spore. So, they were like, oh, maybe we should dig.
That's quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a lot to know about it. And the palace is fully understood of the whole structure now because of plans that were drawn in 1802 by Manuel Caballero. And those were plans that were taken back to Paris by the French troops as the spoils of war and things. And they were only rediscovered in 2004 by Professor Joseph Vicente Boira and in the Suchet family archive. So I think that's really interesting that that's so long, 2004. I mean, that's crazy to suddenly have the
And they
full.
were found in Suchet. He was the commander or whatever that
He was the
came and conquered Valencia. So,
exactly
so the family had this the
the
whole
whole
time.
time. That's crazy to me that just sits somewhere and nobody knows that they have it. Yeah. And then just just as an idea of what you'll find there today, obviously we've talked about the beautiful gardens, and obviously the irrigation channels are still remaining, which are, you know, some of them, like you said, which were created in the Islamic times here. Some orange and lemon trees, which we assume have probably been around since Felipe II's
There are no
nursery.
orange and lemon trees in Valencia.
None. But there's also a natural history museum. Obviously, the park is used for festivals, music festivals, and they do. You were saying before, I think, that they did a Christmas light walk or something there.
Yeah, I found out about it too late on our. They do a walkthrough on our Christmas episode. I didn't mention it because I didn't know about it.
I would have done
and then
that.
I was scrolling. Yeah, I was scrolling through things, and then it came up in one of my parent WhatsApp groups. They're like, "Does anyone have tickets? They're sold out." And I was like, "I didn't even know it was a thing," and they were sold out. So now I know for next year to get these light show tickets.
I love a Christmas light walk. Yeah. So that's basically the history of the Jardín de Riel.
As far as we know it, which isn't a lot. But on that note, Tanya, I will talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Our Spain Poco a Poco. Since you love us so much, please do go on to our social media and follow us and like us and subscribe where you're listening, because it really does help us to grow and stick around and do what we are very much enjoying doing.
And, give us a shout out on the social medias. Give us a comment on what you would like to hear us talk about. I mean, we like to hear ourselves speak, but we do want to make this, informative for our listeners.
Absolutely, yeah. You can comment on one of our posts, or you can send us a message through our Spain Facebook page or Instagram. So we would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. Till the next episode.
Bye.